Hi guys, my name's Emma and let's talk spooky stuff. So today guys, I'm going to do another favorites. It's the end of May. Time is escaping us. Me, so maybe a bit more, but we're on to June next month and I'm so excited because there's so many cool things coming out horror-wise. We have Hereditary, we have Upgrade, which I think you guys probably by the time you watch this, it's already out in America. But I'm very excited for Hereditary, and don't worry, I will be doing a full Come With Me review and then also a spoiler review. The same kind of thing I did for A Quiet Place. So I'll give you both those options as quickly as I can. But on to this month, I have not a lot of movies. I mean, not a lot by horror people standard, but I do have a couple of TV shows and stuff I want to talk to you guys about. Let's get straight into the movies. So at the start of the month, I watched Inside, which is a French horror. Obviously, I'd seen this before. I watched this because I was doing my stream that I do monthly with Nightmare Maven. If you don't know Nightmare Maven, you have to check her out. We do a stream called Does This Offend You? And it's about movies that can be offensive, and we talked about Inside. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check that out. If you haven't seen Inside, definitely recommend it. Especially if you like French horror, it's a great movie. I then watched I Feel Pretty, and I love Amy Schumer now. I feel like everyone's gonna jump down my throat, but there is a couple of reasons for this. First, I Feel Pretty is an amazing movie, and I know this sounds weird coming from me, but it was very relatable with the beauty standards of society. I want to just say really quickly, with the whole drama around, you know, this being a shallow how, which is completely ridiculous. You never see what she sees. And I think that's a huge point that people just bypass really quickly. If I'm making no sense to you, I Feel Pretty is an Amy Schumer movie about a woman who hits herself on the head and then she wakes up with all the self-confidence and looking and feeling the way that she's always wanted to, and she's able to achieve stuff. But of course, she was herself the whole time. But the whole movie is just actually meant to be about self-confidence, and I think people just we all know that people are angry about everything, and each to their own. I'm not upset about that, but people didn't even watch this film. I thought this film was great. If you are a woman, or if you, it also tackles men masculinity issues. Really recommend this movie. It changed my life for a little while, I have to say. Also love Amy Schumer because she just did Super Soul Sundays with Oprah. I understand this is completely nothing to do with horror, but she did a really good episode of that, and I was very on the fence with her for a long time, and now I really like her, and I think this is a great movie. Anyway, moving on, I then watched Antichrist. Back to it, hey? Antichrist, I did a second look at this film. I'm not a big fan. Lars von Trier. Is that how we say it? I don't know. We all know I'm great at pronouncing names. Not a fan. Then I watched Crush, which I can hardly remember. I do believe it was on Netflix or Stan, which Stan is a streaming service in Australia. Wasn't a fan. It's like a stalkerish film, but it just didn't get to the point for me. I then watched Terrifier. I've done a lot of videos recently on Terrifier. If you haven't checked them out, you definitely should. I did a video talking about who Art is and you know, every aspect and breaking down where we've seen him and all that kind of stuff. So if you have seen this clown around and you're confused where you've seen him, that's a great video. But then I also spoke to Art himself, who the guy who plays Art in Terrifier, and Damien, who directed the films, all of Art's films, and created Art, and I got them to like break their silence about a few like really intense clues to Art's background, and I just love those videos. That was really fun. So I watched Terrifier, The Ninth Circle, and All Hallows Eve. Next, we're talking about Fallen. So it's Denzel Washington, John Goodman. We love a good John Goodman film, except for Roseanne. And that was actually quite an interesting film. Wasn't put together great. I don't really want to give it away because it's kind of like it happens throughout the film, like what's actually meant to be the plot point, if that makes sense. But it is about a detective solving a case, and that's kind of what you need to know. If you like Denzel Washington, definitely check it out. I then watched Unsane, which I was such a huge fan of. If you haven't seen Unsane, I highly recommend it if it's still playing in your area. I went and I actually did a Come With Me review on that, so you can check that out. But this is one of my favorite horror movies of this year, to be honest. I then watched A Brilliant Monster, which is a low-budget horror film that the company kind of sent to me. I thought that there was a really interesting concept. It's about a guy who's like making all these books, but he's like in turn feeding this monster within. I don't really want to go too much into it, but it was a great indie film with an original concept, which I think that that's what we need to take out of indie films, not really budget-wise and all that kind of stuff. I did find some issues with the film, but all in all, with this concept, I thought was great. I'd love to see this film remade. I then watched Revenge, which I've done a review for. Love this film. I then watched Family Blood. I was gonna do a review for this film, but it was like meh. It was so meh. I then watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which I watched with my patrons. I liked it a ton more than I remembered liking it. It was a lot more clever than I initially thought, and it's just a really good film. I think this was probably the most silent we've been during a Patreon hangout, which was really funny because I tried to pick something that's like fun to watch so we could talk the whole time. But it was really good. I then watched Christine, which is a film that I've wanted to watch for a long time. It's been on my to-watch list on Letterboxd. It is a true story about a journalist, a TV journalist, I guess like a news anchor, or she was like a field reporter, and her battle with making gore and captivating content for television. And she's famous for killing herself on TV. If you don't know the story of Christine, real person. So I watched that movie finally. It was very sad, as you would expect, but it was an interesting watch and something that kind of will stay with me for a little bit. I then watched Most Beautiful Island, which I just did a review for. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I'm gonna get controversial. I then watched The Rachel Divide. A friend of mine and I were very interested with this whole Rachel transracial situation. I don't want to go too far into this. Obviously this documentary definitely details her backstory, which is a lot different than you think it is. If you don't know who she is, it's probably best you don't, and probably best that you don't give her any more attention than she has already got. She doesn't really deserve it. But it was an interesting look into the backstory of someone that has made headlines in the last couple of years, and not in a good way. But I like the way the documentary was ultimately put together. It was very flip-floppy, and I like when documentaries can kind of like grab you and be like, this person's great, no they're bad, no they're great. And I like how that power play. I think it's really clever and convincing, and I liked this documentary. I'm gonna leave it there. I then watched Thoroughbreds, which is a film that I've been wanting to watch for a long time. If you haven't seen anything about this film, I believe that Drum Dums did a review on this as well. It is about two girls who I guess go to school together, and they're complete opposites. And then they decide that they want to kill one of the girls' mum's partner, and it is a dark movie, and it deals with a lot of mental health. It has a very strange and sinister tone. It's not like other films, but I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I thought like two girls like plotting the death of someone would be like my cup of tea, but it just was a bit strange and a little bit dry for me. I then watched Amityville: The Awakening. I'm not gonna joke, I only watched this because of Bella Thorne, but it has been on my list for a long time, so I thought I'd just give it a go. I was just having like an easy night in, so I thought, hey, I'll just chuck this on the background. Not a great horror movie by any means, but it does remind me of the horror movies I used to watch when I was like a teenager. Any of those like lame-o kind of early 2000 horror movies that kind of show something go bump in the night and have really bad special effects and all that kind of stuff. It was a little bit scary, I'm not gonna lie, but it was scary in a cheesy way. I then watched The Fear of 13, which is a documentary, which is about a man who's been in prison for 2 decades, and just some tales about him. I will talk about this in a future video, so I don't want to go too far into it, but it is a great documentary and it's on Netflix. So if you're into kind of true crime story documentaries, it's probably worth a watch. The ones I recommend for you guys to watch that I watched this month is definitely Revenge, Unsane, Terrifier. If you haven't seen Terrifier, you definitely should, and Inside. And then for people who are looking for the feel-good comedy, I Feel Pretty is a great film. I actually cried from laughing and from sadness in that film, which it says a lot, doesn't it? Also, if you haven't seen Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, you definitely need to check it out. And then I would also recommend Most Beautiful Island and Thoroughbreds. Even though I didn't love Thoroughbreds, I do think that a lot of you guys will really like it. Next up is television. A couple of these I am going to be talking about in a future video. I'm sure you guys can connect the dots what I'm going to be doing. Evil Genius, I finally watched that. That was really easy to get through. If you guys don't know about it, it is a Netflix true crime documentary, four-parter actually, about a weird-ass crime that happened in America where a man robbed a bank with a bomb device around his neck. And then it's kind of how did he get there in that kind of situation. And it is a strange documentary, but I'm glad it only went for 4 episodes, so it was like really easy to swallow. They're kind of like about the 45 minutes to 50-minute mark, but it is an interesting one, and I don't know if Evil Genius is the correct title for it, but it's very intriguing genius. I then watched Luther season, I think we watched season 3 at the start of this month, but we just finished season 4, which is the one that's out at the moment. Season 4 only has 2 episodes, so this is very short. I was a fan of Luther for a while. I think I spoke about Luther last month or the month before. Dean and I were really into Luther, but season 4 just fell a bit flat for me. I feel like every season he picks up another girl and has like a problem with her, but he also feels bad, but he doesn't want to kill her because she's a female. It's weird. I then watched Handmaid's Tale season 2. I'm up to episode 6 currently as you're watching this. Wow. Season 1 blew me away. I am such a fan of the way that season was produced. It's probably one of my favorite ever produced TV shows other than 6 Feet Under. The way it's put together, that first season is amazing. This season, I feel like it kind of skips through a lot really quickly. The way it's produced with the music isn't really like involved as much, and I felt like it was just a bit rushed. I mean, the production quality is there definitely, but the storyline, you just keep going through the same kind of circle. In saying that, episode 1 is insane. Insane, and I was crying in the first 5 minutes. Still love it, still gonna finish it. I wonder if they'll do a season 3. I was very surprised they even did a season 2. I love Handmaid's Tale though, so definitely check it out. The last TV show I want to talk about really quickly, because I'm in the middle of it, is The Staircase, and I'm going to talk about this in a future video. You definitely know what I'm doing now. And this is a crime doco that is actually coming to Netflix on June 8, I believe. It is about a man whose wife is found dead at the bottom of a staircase. Then it's a really good look into the actual case and, you know, talking with these lawyers, and you see everything. It's like filmed them talking to, you know, having mock trials and all that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting back look, but then there's some twists and turns in the case as it's happening. So it's a very interesting, alluring documentary series. So I've been watching that recently, but I believe it comes out on June 8 on Netflix, even though it's from 2004. But I think that they're adding some more episodes to like update what's going on now with the case, or with him, the guy, the suspect. And for horror made items, I have these guys. Poor little wolfman. His hands are cut off. I actually had these, I've had these for 10 years. I took them to Darwin, which is where my mum lives, which is across the country for those who don't know, when I was like 18, because I was moving, and I left them there, and she just brought them down for me. They're the NECA, is it NECA? Is that how you say it? NECA? N-E-C-A, Universal Studio little guys. I don't know. I've got to figure out where I'm going to put these guys, but I don't really have any figurines, so it's really nice having these guys back. Obviously I've got Creature and I've got Wolfman, but unfortunately he's hands. But I thought I'd just share these because you probably see them bubbling around in the background, and you're probably wondering where they came from. Podcast wise, I have been listening to a new podcast called Bunny Ears, which is the Macaulay Culkin's new podcast, which is very interesting. If you guys don't know, Macaulay Culkin is like back on the scene. He's on social media now, and it is amazing. He is such an interesting character. He did a really good interview with Anna Faris, if you like Anna Faris, or Anna Faris. Is that how I say it? Anna Faris. Definitely check that out. Called Bunny Ears. You just look it up on your podcast device, and you should find it. And that's kind of all I have for you guys this month. I want to give you guys a little monthly mission. I want to see, I know that I say this all the time, but I'm really interested to see what you guys are excited about coming up, horror-wise. Obviously Hereditary, Upgrade, Halloween. I think a couple of people care about that. I want to see what other films that I'm missing on my list of things to look forward to in the second half of the year, moving into June. So please let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to read your list of movies you're waiting to watch, you're waiting for them to come out, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Stay spooky. Bye.